BFFs, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Shalita Maxine and you are officially a BFF. So jumping straight into the tutorial like we always do, we are starting off with cleaning up the face with Witch Hazel and a cotton round. This is a mild astringent, so it does not strip the skin. It could also be used as a toner. Now I am priming her face with a Becca Poreless Ever Matte Primer, which is definitely one of my faves. And it sucks because Becca is no longer in business, so I highly doubt you can find it on a Becca website. But I'm pretty sure if you check like a Marshalls or a TJ Maxx, you'll be able to find it. Definitely check the expiration dates as well if you do find it there. Now the favorite part, I am starting with her brows and I'm using the Max Brow in the shade Mocha. You guys already know how I do brows, tracing the outline first and then filling in second. I am being extremely light with my strokes and I'm following the natural shape of her brow. Now you'll see me extending the front part of her brows so they are as aligned as possible. And I also like a longer front. I didn't want the brows too far apart from each other. So I'm just literally imitating hair-like strokes in the beginning. If your client's brows are a little bit distant, do not be afraid to extend them in the start. Picking up the Max Carve 1026 brush. I am so hyped about this brush, as you guys already know. I will always plug it because I want to keep that momentum going. This brush is dropping mid-March. I did not use any glue, no product whatsoever to get that brush flat. It comes flat just like that. So for concealers, I am using the Born This Way concealers today for this entire tutorial. And you guys know I typically use a tapered blending brush to blend out my concealers. But this time I wanted to try a beauty blender. I am using the Max Blur beauty blender and it is damp. And I actually love the coverage and I love how soft it is. I don't see any streaks and it's a pretty clean base and I love to see it. It's so satisfying to watch. So I will be listing the shade names for the concealers in the description box like I always do. Using the beauty blender, it is blending so effortlessly. If you guys decide to use this technique, definitely make sure your beauty blender is damp. You don't want it super dry, you don't want it super wet. You want it nice and damp. When the Max Carve drops, there will be a 24-hour sale, so definitely make sure you guys are following MaxLuxe Studios on Instagram for the official announcement. You guys know I am basing her lids with the Rumor Base in the shade 0.5 and blending it out with that tapered blending brush. Whenever I base the lids, I make sure I bring it right above the crease, but not into the concealer. Now, as a transition shade, I am using the Juvia's Place bronzer. I believe this is the tan bronzer. And I'm using a fluffy blending brush and I am doing circular motions into the crease back and forth, not too harsh. For my third shadow, I am using a brown shade, and again the palettes will be listed in the description box below, and I am just building that color up until I get the intensity that I need. Now I'm taking that second brush and I'm just going right on top of that brown to smooth out the edges. You'll see me going back and forth making sure all three colors appear. That's that transition shade, that base color, and then the third color on top. Now, to cut the crease, of course, I'm using the Max Carve and the P. Louise Rumor Base in the shade 0.5. And I wanted to do an open cut crease. I did not want to close off this crease. I kind of just was like winging it. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do some type of a cut crease because she had a lot of lid space and I wanted to take advantage of it. So starting off, it was like a little too angled for me, so I did end up going back and rounding it out in the inner corner. But I am leaving the outer corner completely open because you'll see me ombre the bottom portion to kind of close it up a little bit. Whenever you're doing a cut crease, do not be afraid to go back and make adjustments. I know sometimes you'll be like, oh, well, I could leave it. No, if you don't feel good about it, go back and adjust. Again, I always say don't go crazy, but don't feel like, oh, I'm just going to leave it because I don't want to mess it up. Trust yourself, sis. You got this. Whenever I'm doing the opposite eye, I like to look back for reference because for some reason my hand and eye coordination is just off. So it's important that I look back to see if I'm at least on the right track. Again, I don't drive myself crazy. If they are close enough, then that's good enough for me because I know when I put the finishing touches, it'll all look so seamless. And as you see, we kind of got this funky cut crease shape, which I really like. So I'm glad I went with it. Now I'm using a large eyeshadow shading brush and I'm just tapping away any extra product that was on the cut crease as well as bringing it down. I did not want any lines of demarcation because that will show through the shadows that we'll be using. Now I'm using this like kind of almost tan shadow and I'm applying it over the entire cut crease. Now I'm using a small shader brush and I'm just cleaning up the edges with a little bit of that shadow that I had before. Now I'm using a small shadow brush and I'm kind of like going in an angle with this brick shade. I knew that I wanted to angle this cut crease. I did not want the common cut crease. I wanted it kind of on an angle, if you guys see what I mean. And then I'll be blending it out, almost like smoking it out to kind of get that ombre effect. It was definitely a trial and error situation. I know what I'll be doing next time. This is my first time like ombreing a wing. So I know what I'll be doing the next time. But I was kind of like figuring it out as I went. But I ended up loving how it turned out. I did. Now I'm using the Cafe shade from the new Persuasion palette, and I'm using a more dense eyeshadow brush to apply that. And I noticed that it was kind of like taking away the shadow. So I went back with the original brush to kind of fill it in, and then I picked up that big fluffy brush to kind of like smoke it, if it makes sense. So you'll see me going back and forth between the shadows to kind of get the right type of ombre that I was looking for. And it was a lot because it was like one color would be a little bit too much and I would lose the previous color. So then I knew like, okay, Lee, you have to get really light with your strokes in order to let this shadow stick and also blend properly. So you'll see me like going between eyes. One eye would be blended a little bit better than the other, and that's okay. I just took the time to go back and forth between the two. Her lashes were really long, so I took a clean blending brush and I dust off as much shadow as possible. Fallout happens, don't trip, I promise it happens. Now I am just cleaning up that ombre wing, and it's not like a super harsh ombre, it's a very light ombre wing, but I'm cleaning it up with a makeup cloth. For the perimeter of her face, I'll be using the black Opal foundation stick in the shade Black Walnut. For the contour, I'll be using Carob because she does have a very warm undertone, and the black walnut is a neutral undertone. And then for the center of her face, I am using the Estee Lauder in the shade Truffle. You guys know I mix my foundations. It's no surprise. This is how I do my foundations. So nothing is ever overlapping. They're in different sections of the face. So it's as if I'm using one foundation all over. Our faces, you know, especially women of color, we are 2-tone, 3-tone, so this is how I combat that. Now to refresh her face, I am using the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, and now I'm just blending with my Instapop brush from Real Techniques. And I sped this part up, you guys already know, but I wanted you guys to see how the colors just all like blend together. It is so satisfying to watch. For concealers, you guys know I'm using the Born This Way concealer. I believe this is the maple shade that I'm using under her eye, either maple or cookie. But again, I'm going to leave it down below. The lightest one of the two is the one that I'm using directly under her eye. And then the shade darker I'll be using on the perimeter of that. All over, pretty much. Using my Real Techniques setting brush to blend out the concealer. For contour, I am using the Black Opal foundation stick in the shade Ebony Brown. To set her contour, I'm using the Juvia's Place bronzer in the dark shade. For setting powder, I am using Sacha Buttercup with a damp beauty blender to apply it. I just truly love her facial features. I love her bone structure. This is actually my hairstylist, and when I first met her, I told her I'd do makeup, and it's so crazy because it's her second time coming to me, and I'm just so thankful for that. But she absolutely killed this look. Now for the fun part, I am adding rhinestones, and I'm just like randomly placing them. There's no like same size or like different sizes because I kind of wanted to give that real blinged out kind of like clustered effect. So I am using different sizes, and I'm not going to bring the rhinestones all the way down. I just kind of wanted to put it right after the center. This is the blush that I'm always using. I get from the beauty supply store. I always forget to put it in the description box. So I said, okay, Lee, put it in the camera so these folks can see this. So BFFs, I got y'all. That is the blush that I use. Now I'm cleaning off her lips and applying the pure shade from the Signature Drip palette in the inner corner of her eyes. For lip liner, I'm using the Wet n Wild lip liner in the shade Simmer Brown now. And I'll be using the Letha Max Matte from MaxLuxe Studios for her lipstick. And I believe I use the, I use the Denelle gloss on top. Now I could have certainly blended that out and we could have just left it matte just like that. But she wanted gloss, so we did gloss. Either or would have been okay with me. I love this lip that we did because it's like a subtle pink. It's not super duper bright. It's not too dark. It kind of gives that nice like tint, that little zhuzh of pink. I really, really love this lip and it went really, really well with her skin tone. Now I'm taking my foundation brush, no added product, and I am just blending everything out as well as dusting away that setting powder. For highlight, I am using the Grand Prize highlighter, the Max Glow from MaxLuxe Studios, as well as the Wet n Wild highlighter. I cannot remember that shade name, but it will be left in the description box below. I did pick up the Shantae Clear Gloss from MaxLuxe Studios to add some extra shine to her lips. Now I'm going to finish her face off with some Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. And this is the completed look. Wow. Do you guys like this look? I really, really love this look. It's sexy. It pops. It's soft, but it's still beat. I love this look. If you guys enjoyed this look, please give me a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any other makeup ideas, leave them in the comment section below. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Oh, subscribe if you haven't. Catch you in the next one, BFFs. Bye.